Greetings. This is Justin Al Montgomery with Pro Course Start. I am a nurse practitioner by training, and I help people start CE businesses, continuing education course businesses. This is number 2 of our case study series. This is how a psychologist built a $25,000 a month continuing education membership business. So she went from going from contracted clinical work to having a scalable recurring revenue and the freedom that came with that from starting her continuing education course business. So she reached out to me and she was practicing psychologist. She's a prescribing psychologist. And she reached out to me saying that, she was getting burnt out. I think she was in her mid to late 40s and she was getting burnt out on practice and was really wanting to scale back on work and start teaching. She was considering working at like a university, the more traditional based model of teaching. But, after she started looking at how much they make, she wasn't really all that impressed. And so she reached out to me with Procore Start and was interested in starting her own thing, and it worked out for her. So what life looked like before for her. So she was working contracted clinical work. Okay. Her income was tied directly to her clinical hours. There was no flexibility. There was no scaling. The only way she was able to make more money is if she worked more. And most of you are medical professionals listening to this, nurse practitioners, PAs, doctors, chiropractors, etc. And you know exactly what that is. I mean, you basically just don't really make money unless you're seeing patients. Even if you own your own practice, it's the exact same model. Great thing about a CE business is that it's not tied to your time. She was professionally limited, split between talk therapy and prescribing with little room to grow. She basically hit the ceiling. There wasn't really a whole lot else for her to do. She could start her own practice if she really wanted to. But again, she would just be stuck in that time for money trap. She was wanting more. She was wanting greater impact in the world. She wanted to spend more time with her husband and dogs, and she wanted real schedule freedom. She wanted to be able to live the life that I live, location independent, schedule independent. I kind of just do what I want when I want because I have businesses that work for me, right? I'm a nurse practitioner by training, and I don't practice anymore because I don't need to. It's a really, really great feeling, and a lot of providers out there, healthcare professionals are doing the same thing through starting a CE business. So the hidden problem. So her expertise was deeply valuable, but she had no idea how to package it into a scalable business. She knew the information and the knowledge that she had was valuable because people would always be asking her for advice and help. So she knew what she had was valuable, but she just didn't know how to actually leverage it. She just had no clue how to do that. She was letting her knowledge work through her instead of letting her knowledge work for her. And that is the underlying principle of a CE business. You're letting your knowledge work for you rather than through you in clinical practice. She didn't know how to package up her knowledge, basically. She really just didn't know. She just had no clue what to do. Like she had no clue how to get started. So, what to teach. She wanted to turn her deep expertise into a structured product. And she said it felt very overwhelming to her to do that. How to market. She had no framework for reaching the right audience or building trust. She had no clue how to even get started. How do I start a CE business? How do I launch a course? And how do I market it? How do I get it out in the world? How are people even going to know I exist? Right. And she didn't know what to charge. It was unclear. And what to charge. She was unclear on offer structure, pricing, and positioning. She had no clue on what her knowledge, her courses, her memberships were going to be worth. She had no idea how to do that. So basically the problem wasn't lack of expertise. The problem was a lack of positioning. She just was not positioned in a place where she could do this the right way. Many people who start CE businesses don't do it the right way. They just don't. They have no clue what they're doing, and they get started. They launch a course. They put a landing page up, and it's just crickets, right? And she didn't want to do that. She had a colleague that launched a CE course, and it just didn't really do anything for him, and she wanted to do this the right way, basically. So one question changed everything. This is the question that I asked her. What is the biggest problem with the highest demand? She never really thought about that. Most people who start a CE business, most people who start a business in general don't ask themselves that question. They just come up with an idea and say, okay, let's just go with that. I think it's a good idea. I think it'll sell. That's the wrong way to do it. Okay. You need to ask yourself, what is the biggest problem with the highest demand? Okay. So ask yourself that question, regardless of any business that you want to start, ask yourself that question, especially with the CE business. So after I asked her that question, she gained some clarity. She finally understood her unique angle, what she wanted to do. She understood her positioning. She knew exactly who she was going to serve. She gained confidence because, after I was working with her, she understood her value proposition. She understood what value she was going to propose to the world, what she was going to do. And she had some direction. She had a clear path forward. I basically told her exactly what she needed to do. She used the Procore Start resources to guide her into starting a robust and successful continuing education course business. So the niche was the advantage. Okay. So with psychology, with mental health education, most of it's focused on therapy or pharmacology. Almost no one was teaching how to integrate both together unless you're like a psych NP or a psychiatrist, right? So her audience was a little bit different, a little bit outside of that. So she wanted to integrate the pharmacology and the talk therapy together. This was the unique opportunity she came up with. Remember, the riches are in the niches, basically. Okay. So the more niche you can be, the better. So she wanted to do something very unique with that in the therapy world. So the business was built in about 10 weeks. So she was spending about 10 to 15 hours a week building this. You can expect to spend anywhere between 100 to 140 hours building out your continuing education course business itself. Okay. That's building the course, that's building the website, that's doing all of it. And it took her about 110 hours to do it. Okay. So she was doing it kind of on the weekends and at nights. She was still working full time. So she set the foundation up, the branding, the website, the membership platform, the course hosting platform. She designed the curriculum. She created the teaching videos, the course structure, the modules, the lessons, all of that stuff. So she uploaded it to the course hosting platform. She used Procore Soft, which is our course hosting platform. She built the systems, the onboarding, the marketing workflows, the lead magnets, all of that. And she launched it. She launched her membership. Her membership went live. So she did everything the right way. After, she had some clarity, after she was going through our mastermind and going through our structured curriculum, she realized how simple the process actually was. I mean, she was following a proven roadmap, the roadmap that I used to build an 8-figure continuing education course business, the model that many others have used to build their successful continuing education course businesses. So she had the process down and the roadmap to follow. So the high ticket membership model. So this is kind of what she designed. Okay. She designed a high ticket membership where people would come in and essentially she would be teaching, integrating talk therapy with the pharmacology and what's, in the middle of that. So she developed the high ticket membership. So it was a 12-week curriculum, 1-hour teaching videos covering clinical integration strategies. So students would get into the membership and they would complete this 12-week curriculum. She had weekly live calls, weekly teaching sessions, and live question and answer for members. That's kind of what we have in the Procore Start mastermind as well. It's 2 calls a week, though. She didn't have any CE credits needed. Like, she didn't offer continuing education credits. She didn't actually offer official credits. Okay. What she was doing was continuing education, but there wasn't actual CEUs attached to it or continuing education hours. Okay. Transformation expertise were valuable enough without the accreditation. Guys, there are 3 models of a continuing education course business. Model number 1 is the value lies in the CE credit. Okay. That's all the BS CE courses that we've all taken just to get some hours, right? It's just you log in, you take the course, you get your CE hour, and that's it. You don't really care what they were teaching. You just needed the hour. The other model is where the value lies in the actual information you're teaching. It's actually transformative information. And then the other model is a hybrid model where you combine both. You're actually teaching valuable information people care about and there's CE attached to it. She decided that she wasn't going to offer CE. So whatever, it worked for her. It doesn't matter. I mean, my continuing education course business, the Elite Nurse Practitioner, we didn't offer CE for the first 2 or 3 years, and it was very successful. So one issue that she faced at first was undercharging. She did not believe me when I told her she could charge a lot more for this. So she launched at $2,200 for a 3-month membership into this. Okay. Sales were decent. Sales were pretty good, but she was still not hitting the numbers that she wanted to hit. And I talked with her and I was like, listen, I think it's a good idea if you charge more. I think people will still pay for it. And I don't think you'll lose any customers. So she went up to $5,000 for the membership. And sales were not negatively affected at all. If anything, it grew. Listen, guys, people pay for transformation, expertise, confidence, and specialization, not just credentials. They want to take your course. They want to join your membership, your mastermind, to have a transformation in their life. They want to learn something and become more confident. They want to gain more new expertise. They want to reposition themselves within their professional career. Okay. So just remember that you can charge more than you think you can. So the aha moment for her was that she realized that she didn't need a lot of customers. Like you don't need thousands of customers, guys. She was seeing 4 to 6 new members a month and charging $5,000 for this membership. You do the math there. I mean, $20,000 to $30,000 a month recurring revenue with little overhead. I mean, I'm talking about a margin of 80%, if not more. The main expense with a continuing education course business is marketing it. That's basically it. Okay. So she was doing very, very well. All right. She had a small number of high value customers, and this created a highly profitable business. So you can launch a continuing education course business and charge a lot more than you think you can. And you only need to have a handful of customers, and you're making a great side income. That was a real aha moment for her. So what did she do to get customers? So she did some community engagement marketing. She went to Facebook communities. She went into Facebook groups. She went inside there and engaged with the group. She provided value. She was joining educational discussions. Basically, this built trust with members of that Facebook group. She was posting YouTube content, 1 video per week. Okay. It was nice, consistent visibility. Like I talked about in case study number 1, consistent content is what will make or break your continuing education course business. And she spent some money on paid advertising. She spent some money on advertising on YouTube and Meta and Instagram and LinkedIn. This amplified her organic reach and it accelerated her audience growth. So by engaging with communities online through community engagement marketing, Facebook groups, forums, etc., she was able to answer people's questions, and she didn't necessarily promote her CE business, her membership business. She just answered people's questions. And when the time came, when people asked her questions or whatever, she would say, if you want more in-depth information on how to do this the right way, check out my courses, check out my membership, basically. Okay. That community engagement marketing works very well. So her audience growth accelerated over time. So early growth was pretty slow. The first month or two was kind of slow. She was not publishing consistent content like I told her to do. She was undercharging. But once the community engagement marketing kicked in, when she started joining Facebook groups and contributing to them, the momentum really, really compounded. It really started accelerating. She was very consistent with her content and her community engagement marketing, and that really changed everything. She gained almost 8,000 Facebook and Instagram followers and 30,000 YouTube subscribers. Okay. Those don't seem like very large numbers when you look at people who have 1 million YouTube subscribers or whatever, right? But guys, with a CE business, you don't need to have that many followers to have a very profitable business. So the results, essentially. So this is what happened with Sarah. So the first 2 months, she generated about $30,000. Not bad. She made the initial investment into her CE business back essentially in the first 2 months. Okay. After I think it was like 5 or 6 months, she started really producing about $25,000 a month, pretty consistent. And she's growing right now too. She might get 1 or 2 extra members every single month. So it slowly compounds. It slowly grows. She has 30,000 YouTube subscribers and 8,000 Meta followers. And this took her about 10 weeks to build it. It didn't really take her that long to build this because she already knew the information, right? Like she already knew how to do this. So she didn't have to reinvent the wheel. She just basically packaged up her knowledge and information into a course product and a membership. and just went at it. Like, starting a CE business is not terribly difficult as long as you know how to do it the right way. And she did, and she did it the right way. So she started this in February 2025. She launched a membership in June of 25. And she runs her CE business full time now. Okay. Her goal is to be hitting $1 million a year in revenue within 2 years. And I think she will definitely do that. She's doing better than I did initially. So I think she'll hit that. She's just going to need to spend more money on marketing her business and getting out more content. So when did it finally feel real for Sarah? It was about 4 months in. She realized she was making more money than her full-time clinical job while working half the time, literally. Like I said in case study 1, guys, you can expect to spend about 10 to 15 hours a week on a continuing education course business if it's built the right way, on keeping the business operational. It really only takes about 10 or 15 hours a week. And that's just producing content, doing some marketing, doing some customer service. It's really doesn't take that much time, and it's completely location independent. You can do it anywhere in the world. Literally all you need is an internet connection. Okay. So she generated $30,000 in the first 2 months. That was her launch milestone. And she realized that she was making more money with half the hours and full freedom. Now, has she completely replaced her salary? No, she didn't, because she was doing very well as a psychologist with her production model. But she's making a lot more money when you factor in the amount of hours she's working. If she was putting full-time hours into this and was able to grow this, she'd be making twice as much. She'd be making over $500,000 a year. So it finally felt real for her when she started seeing the money getting deposited into her bank account and just not having to work that much. So why the membership model succeeded? Why did this work for Sarah? It was a very hyper-specialized niche. She was targeting a certain group of professionals like psychologists and therapists, and teaching them something very unique on how the integration of medication management and therapy works. I don't know exactly what she was teaching, as that's outside of my wheelhouse, but it was very, very niched. She had premium positioning. She was charging $5,000. Okay. Not $500, not $2,000, $5,000. She had a recurring revenue structure, essentially. People were paying monthly, basically over 3 months. And after the 3 months were done, many of them stay on board. I think she's charging, I believe it's $250 a month to stay in the membership after the initial $5,000. And I believe it's about a 50% retention rate with that, is what she told me the last time I talked with her. And that's very, very good. She's going to be making a very nice subscription-based income. And it was transformation-focused messaging, right? Stop being just a psychologist or a therapist. Understand the pharmacology. Understand what's going on in the brain, et cetera, with your patients. Basically, the specialization created authority in the space. She's really the only one doing this. So she did very, very well. So what changed after success? So professional freedom. She left contracted reservation work entirely. She was working on some reservations, doing psychological care and medication management. She runs her CE business full time on her own terms now. Okay. She has more time with her disabled daughter. She has greater schedule flexibility and autonomy. So she basically gained back her freedom professionally and personally. I know many of you would love to get some more time back. Many of you are working 60, 70, 80 hours a week, and Sarah was no different. She was making good money, but she was sacrificing her life. So the emotional shift, she no longer undervalues her expertise. She realizes that her knowledge and her skills are very valuable. Her knowledge and skills are making a real impact in the world. And she's building towards a $1 million CE business within the next 2 years. I think she will get there. I truly do. I think she's going to hit that number. And when she does, she's going to need to scale this a different way. She's going to need to hire other people to help her out. And that's a good problem to have. So lesson number 1, your expertise is more valuable than you think. She didn't realize that her knowledge and expertise were as valuable as they actually were. Hyperspecialization is powerful. Very, very niched clinical education is what she was providing, okay? The more niched, the better. It basically separates you out from all the noise. As the internet's a very noisy place. You know this. I mean, the internet is a very, very noisy place. It's very crowded. So you need to separate yourself. Premium pricing attracts serious buyers. Okay. People are spending $5,000 for her membership. This is premium pricing. She's attracting people who are serious, not looky-loos. And number four, you don't need massive volume to succeed. She gets 4 new customers a month, something like that. I mean, it's pretty impressive, and she's doing very, very well. She got started. Okay. Just get started. She took action. She decided to stop having this be an idea and actually make it into a reality. And number six, community trust matters enormously. This is how she was able to scale this business. She was able to scale it by being in Facebook groups, on message boards, community engagement, marketing, getting in there, delivering value, and getting some students from it. So the professionals who take action now will dominate this industry over the next decade, because with the advent of artificial intelligence and the advancement of all the tools, I think continuing education is going to be in a interesting place in the next 5 to 10 years. So I think the people who are taking action now, utilizing AI to help you be more efficient and establishing a business now, continuing education course business now, if you get established now and build your authority now, you will not have to worry about the AI threat 5 to 10 years from now. I just don't think you're gonna have to worry about it if you take action and build a CE business now. Okay. Basically, you become established within your space. You are the establishment with this particular piece of education. If you do that, you're going to be just fine. And you can build a very, very healthy passive income right now. And you can generate a lot of money, and you can pay off all your debts and generate a nice nest egg, because the future is uncertain. It's just very, very uncertain right now. So if you have any questions, or you are interested in joining the Pro Course Start Mastermind, or having us help you start a CE business, then email me, justin@procoursestart.com, or go to procoursestart.com and check us out and see if we can help you start a CE business. All right, you guys take care. God bless. Bye.